to another episode of our video game baking series. My lunchbox is in the way. Today we're going to be making the mint chocolate chip cookies from Nancy Drew Danger by Design. I have wanted to make these cookies my entire life. I'm very, very excited. And today I only have one preface for you. And here's the preface. If you've played this game, you know that when you make the cookies correctly, the edges curl up like this. I'll put a picture here. As far as I knew, cookies did not do that, so I tried to look up how I might, what I needed to put in my cookies to get them to do that, and I found out that evidently cookies don't do that, and Her Interactive actually made that up so that the player would know when their cookies were done, which is a really nice tidbit, but unfortunately there's no natural way I can make my cookies curl up in that fashion, so I will try and mold a couple of them, do some cosmetic surgery on a couple of them to get the edges to curl up. But for the most part, I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's not possible. It's not possible. That's it. I'm gonna be making the exact recipe this time for the first time probably ever on this channel. So we're gonna jump right in. Our first thing, we've got our softened butter here. As always, I will link the recipe down below so you can see. So first up, we are going to be beating our 1 cup of butter. Some of it is melted, sorry, with our 1.5 cups of sugar. Okay, now that it's moderately light and fluffy. It would have been better if I had used the stand mixer, but I didn't feel like dirtying another bowl. So, okay, now we need to add 2 large eggs, 1 egg yolk, and peppermint extract and our extract, and our green food coloring. Alright, here's 2 eggs, and here's our egg yolk. Here's our extract, our mint extract. All right, and our food coloring. We need 10 drops. So we're gonna be super, super careful. Okay, so after adding all that in, it doesn't say whether or not to beat it or to stir it. In my experience, when adding the liquids together, you beat it still, so that's what I'm gonna do. Be super freaking careful. There's so much green in here. If I splash, well, I'm gonna say I'm wearing all black, so it doesn't matter. But I don't want this going everywhere. Okay, it's very green. I hope that the color mellows out a little bit when you add the flour. Otherwise, I mean, I added exactly what it said. So, not my fault. Okay, and now we're going to, in a separate bowl, do our flour, our baking powder and soda, our cream of tartar, and our salt. Okay, I'm gonna add 3¼ cup flour. And I hope I have enough. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. All right, and then 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, and we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. I'm a little bit suspicious of this because I've only ever used cream of tartar in snickerdoodles and in sugar cookies, and it gives things a little bit of a tart taste. I'm just wondering, how is that gonna taste in mint chocolate chip cookies? I'll trust the recipe, but I'm suspicious. And we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. All right, we're gonna go ahead and stir this together. Doing some stirring. That was super easy. And now we're going to combine it with our wet ingredients. And we're gonna stir until the flour is not quite incorporated. So we'll get it most of the way there. So. Okay, not quite totally incorporated, but this is so we are ready for our next step, which is we're adding half of the chocolate chips to the dough, and then we're chopping the other half coarsely and then adding that in. So we're gonna get like chocolate flakes in the dough. Here's our first half. Okay, now I have my chocolate chips. And I'm gonna chop them. I'm just gonna trust that this is gonna work. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. So, I'm gonna go ahead and add that. All right, now I gotta stir it until everything is fully combined. Okay, we're combined. Here's what we're looking at. It looks pretty freaking delicious. It didn't get any less green. I'm gonna taste some of it though. It tastes pretty good. There's like a slight, for lack of a better term, mustiness to it, and I think that just comes from mixing mint with like butter. I don't know, I think it'll taste good when it's baked. It tastes pretty good now. There's just like a slight something odd in there. So we are gonna go ahead and refrigerate this for 1 hour and then we'll bake them. So I'll see you in an hour. Okay, our dough is chilled. It doesn't feel that cold, so I might pop it in the freezer or something for a hot minute if this first batch doesn't turn out okay. But we're gonna scoop these. I'm gonna try using a fancy scoop. I don't use these very often, so I hope this works. It's saying they should be about this size. I don't know, you guys. I'm gonna just start with the 9. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna toss this in for 8 minutes and then I'll see you in a second. Okay, here's our first batch. I was right, they turned out very flat. I also figured out, I read the instructions wrong. I didn't read them all the way. So I put the dough in the freezer. Okay, they look so very weird and oblong, but hopefully they turn out better. Okay, these ones look better. It looks like one of these had a rolling around issue and rolled into the other one, but they look better. I'm gonna just try and make them smaller though, because they're still just flat. Honestly, if this is an issue, I have made recipes before, and if your recipe has an issue like that where it's flattening, yes, rolling it on its side will be very helpful, but what would be more helpful is adding more flour. Enough flour that it's not sticky and that you can form the dough in your hands without getting like residue on your hands. I think that would really help this recipe. I'm gonna try making them a little bit smaller and maybe taller too. I don't know. Okay, our final batch actually looks really, okay, it looks terrible on this camera, but it looks good in real life. I'm proud of what looks here. Oh man, it looks so bad on camera. It really looks so much better in real life. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try one of the scraps here. I'll try this one. This one looks a little more whole. It's pretty good. It tastes a lot better than I thought it would. I was very skeptical about this, but it tastes really good. I would make these again, but here's what I would change. And this is helpful for anyone who has a recipe whose cookies are doing that. If that is happening, here's what you do. So first, when I make this again, I would change the amount of butter and change the amount of flour. So I would add some flour, maybe like a 1/4 cup, and I would take out some of the butter, a couple of tablespoons, maybe a 1/4 cup, and you can go more than that. You can go up to like half a stick of butter or a full stick of butter. Generally, you want your dough to be sticky so that it holds together, but you don't want it to be like soupy, if that makes sense. You want to be able to poke it and not have a whole clump of it just sticking to your hand. I might also switch around some of the baking time, maybe put it at a lower temperature and bake it for a little bit longer. So you can adjust the recipe to change that. And another thing you can do is make sure that you freeze the dough instead of refrigerate it, and make sure that you are putting your dough on a cold or like room temperature baking sheet. If you put it on a hot sheet that you just took out of the oven, the dough is going to start cooking and melting as soon as you put it on there. So what do you want, Monster Woman? I don't know what you want. You pooped on the floor today. I'm not very happy with you. Anyways, cool off your baking sheet, or better yet, use 2 baking sheets so you have one cooling all the time. That will help the dough not spread and turn into pancake dough when you bake it. So I would make this again, but I would make some adjustments. And I don't think the recipe is bad. I think I live in a higher altitude, so this happens all the time when I'm baking. So those are the adjustments I would make so I can actually cook them correctly. There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will catch you guys next time for whatever it is I post next. I can't remember. I love you all very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!